Hello, how are you? This is once again Hugh Barnes. And as always, today I'm going to comment about a book that I read and help you decide whether it's a book that you want to read or not. You may remember, I say it all the time, I consider myself lucky that I've had the chance to learn about the use of the power of the mind with some of the great teachers. Some of them I met personally, like Jose Silva and Michael Bernard Beckwith, but many others like Bob Proctors and Joe Vitale, Mary Morrissey, and many more, Asraf. These are individuals that one way or another I've learned from, directly or indirectly, face to face or through some other media. And what I do really in these videos is I tell you about the book that I have read, and I give you my opinion, okay, my personal opinion about what I think about the book, but also who may benefit from reading it. Today I'm going to talk about a very well-known book called The Science of Getting Rich. What I have here is that this is a particular version by Barnes & Noble, where they actually compile more than one of Wallace Wattles' books. Wattles was born in 1860, and he died in like 1911. So he wrote this book in 1910. So at the very beginning of the 20th century, with a particular language, the books written at the time, the New Thought, and sometimes it really sounds a little bit like the book from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Some of the way that they talk about some of this the science, they are very straightforward. They were not so politically correct, and they used to talk, always about man. The word woman does not appear too much in any of these books written at the time, except in some of the new versions that have been rewritten. Like there is one called Think and Grow Rich for the 21st Century, if I remember the name correctly, which I will comment another time. But it's a very thick book, and they comment all the time, what they change in terms of the language at the time and the language in the 21st century. Also, the concept of God and religion. Sometimes the interpretation is different from what it is today. Anyway, so my point today is really about reading a couple of paragraph here from the book to give you an idea how the book expresses Wallace Wattles' ideas, but also kind of explain, I think, what he was intending to do. Yeah? Wallace Wattles was very pragmatic, and he wrote this book almost as a how-to book. Now everybody talks about how-to. You go to YouTube and you Google and you say how to change the spark plugs of my car, for example. He writes here in the preface of the book the following: "This book is pragmatical, not philosophical, a practical manual, not a treatise upon theories. It is intended for the men and women," this is probably added later, "whose most pressing need is for money, who wish to get rich first and philosophize afterward. It is for those who have so far found neither the time, the means, nor the opportunity to go deeply into the study of metaphysics." And then the very first chapter of the book says this: the right to be rich. And the message is, you have the right to be rich. You want to do things in your life. You want to accomplish things in your life. And the society, already in the 1900s, was all about money. He says, "A man develops in mind, soul, and body by making use of things. And society is organized such a way that man must have money in order to become the possessor of things." You would think that he wrote that yesterday, right? 1910. "It is in the use of material things that a man finds full life for his body, develops his mind, and unfolds his soul. It is therefore of supreme importance to him that he should be rich. All right, so that's I think the tone for this book. Every living thing must continually seek for the enlargement of its life, because life, in the mere act of living, must increase itself. And he sustains that in order to increase life, you must have things, and to have things, you must have money. Obviously, philosophically, you may disagree with that, but he says here, I mean, unless you are convinced that this is the reality, don't even try. I mean, if you disagree with this concept, don't read the book, because this book is all about man, in generic terms, men and women need money to accomplish things, to have a good life. And at some point he said, well, if you are a musician, you want to have a good piano, you have a guitar, so for that you need money, right? And so on. He talks about impressing things upon substance. What is that substance? Well, it is something where you need to read the book, but that's one of his concepts. There is like a material here that you can impress into the result that you want. Now, for that, there are some preconditions. This is probably the best words, but you have to fulfill certain conditions. You need to be clear as to what you want. You need to understand exactly what you want to accomplish. Also, you need to set your mind properly. To set your mind properly, he has a chapter called Gratitude, chapter number 7. Very important, where he says, unless you feel grateful for things, you're never going to be able to start with a positive tone, with a winning attitude. Gratitude will lead your mind out along the ways by which things come, like you're connecting to the pipeline, and will keep you in close harmony with creative thought and prevent you from falling into competitive thought. I mean, even this has been said by many people. You need to come from a grateful attitude. It's been said by Rhonda Byrne in one of her books, Joe Vitale, Proctor. Everybody talks about feeling grateful. You need to feel grateful. He dedicates a full chapter of the book to that. And then one of the other things is, well, finally, in order to turn this substance into result, you need to think in a certain way. So, chapter 8 is called Thinking in a Certain Way. And to close, I'm going to read just a couple more paragraphs so that you get the final message from Wallace. When you try to impress your wants upon substance, mentioned before, remember that it must be done by a coherent statement. I mean, what you want, how much, when, what. You must know what you want and be definite. And the word definiteness or purpose was also used by Napoleon Hills in the Think and Grow Rich. So being definite in terms of what you want and stick with it is very important. Behind your clear vision must be the purpose to realize. Behind your real vision must be the purpose to realize it, to bring it out in a tangible expression. Imagine an environment and a financial condition exactly as you want them, and live all the time in that imaginary environment and financial condition. I remember that this book was also used, among others, by Rhonda Byrne when she created the ultra famous book The Secret. And so you will notice some of the same words that they use in the book, The Secret. So I think this book, The Science of Getting Rich, is a nice book for everybody. Sometimes I say, well, this is more for beginners, this is more for more experienced people, but no matter where you are in your journey in the knowledge of the power of and the use of the power of mind, I think this is a good book. It's simple, it's right to the point. It gives you the basis eventually to go and read The Secret and read other books. And it may require a little bit of, trying to decipher what Wallace is talking, especially when he talks about the substance But at the same time, I think at least it sounds good for me to believe, that there is something here that you can mold, that you can program, that you can turn into what you want, that is available to everybody. I think that's a good, it puts you in a good attitude. That's why I like this book as well. But it's methodical, it goes step by step, and then he also talked about, how to use your power in a good way, not in the wrong way. So he has also some ethics in the book. Definitely I recommend it, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. Once again, this is Hugh Barnes. I see you next time with another book. Bye-bye.